Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Renjiro Adekohwans. I'm a student at Mulawarman University, Faculty of Academic and Business, majoring management. So in this video, I will discuss about economic mathematics, especially the topic about indices. The topic we will cover includes the definitions of indices, basic formula and properties, and in the end, I will give you an example of problems that we will discuss together. Indices are fundamental concepts that associated with exponent. It is a way of expressing repeated multiplication. For example, 2 raised to the power of 4. The number 2 representing the base, while the number 4 is the exponent. The exponent representing the number of times the base is multiplied by itself. So the result is the same as 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, which equals 16. Wasn't that easy to grasp? Now let's move on to something even more exciting. Basic formula. Absolutely, there's a few basic formulas that you need to understand and keep in mind when dealing with indices. The first fundamental rule is anything raised up to the power of 0 equals 1. It's easy to remember, isn't it? Next, another key rule is 1 divided by a to the power of n equals a to the power of negative n. The next one is open bracket a up to the power of n and close bracket and up to the power of m. It equals a up to the power of n times m. The next one is square root. Square root a equals a raised to the power of 1 divided by 2. And then the next one is, it is important to remember the operations. A raised to the power of n times a raised to the power of m equals a raised to the power of n plus m. And then a raised to the power of n divided a raised to the power of m equals a raised to the power of n minus m. And then the next one is open bracket a times b close bracket raised to the power of n. It equals a raised to the power of n times b raised to the power of n. And then there is a fraction on a bracket a divided by b raised to the power of n. It equals a raised to the power of n divided by b raised to the power of n. Now let's dive into some example problems. We have 4 example problems here, 2 for simplified, 2 for simplifications, and 2 for calculating the result. Now let's go ahead for the first one. So let's get started for the first problem. Here we have number 1, a power 2 times a power 3 equals a power n. So here we need to find the n. To find the n, to solve this problem, we can utilize the index properties that state that a raised to the power of m times a power n equals a power m plus n. So we have a power 2 times a power 3 equals a power n equals a power 2 plus 3 equals a plus n. And then a raised to the power of 5 equals a raised to the power of n. So the n is 5. So we're heading for the number 2. For the number 2 is 2 raised to the power of x plus 1 divided by 2 raised to the power of x minus 2. Always remember the basic formula for indices, which state that a raised to the power of n divided by a raised to the power of m equals a raised to the power of n minus m. It's minus since it was divided. Remember that. So we have 2 raised to the power on bracket x plus 1 close bracket minus on bracket x minus 2 close bracket. So we do the operating system here. Negative times positive is negative, and negative times negative is positive. So we got 2 raised to the power of x plus 1 minus x plus 2. So x plus 1 minus x plus 2 is 3. So we got it 2 raised to the power of 3, which is equals 8. Yeah, that's for number 2. That's for number 1 and number 2. Let's move to the number 3. Okay, for the number 3 we got square root 3 power 4 times on bracket 2 power 3 close bracket raised to the power of 2. Yeah, it's kinda complicated, right? But always remember the basic formula for the indices. This basic formula can help you to resolve any problem of indices. Square root a equals a power 1 divided by 2. But now here we have square root a raised to the power of n equals a raised to the power of n divided by 2. And then always remember that on bracket a raised to the power of n close bracket raised to the power of m equals a raised to the power of n times m. So for the operating system we got square root 3 raised to the power of 4 times on bracket 2 raised to the power of 3 close bracket raised to the power of 2 equals 3 power 4 divided by 2 times 2 power 3 times 2. So we got 3 raised to the power of 2, since 4 divided by 2 is 2, times 2 raised to the power of 6. 3 raised to the power of 2 is 9, and 2 raised to the power of 6 is 64. And then we got 9 times 64, which is equals 576. And then for the last but not least, we got number 4 on bracket 4 raised to the power 2 close bracket raised to the power negative 1 divided by 4 raised to the power negative 3. So always remember the basic formula of indices. In here we got on bracket a raised to the power of n close bracket raised to the power of m equals a power n times m. Yeah, like we did before. And next we got a raised to the power of negative n equals 1 divided by a raised to the power of n. Let's add the exponent of 4 raised to the power of 2 inside the bracket first. So we got 16 raised to the power of negative 1 divided by 4 raised to the power of negative 3. And then you 1 divided by 16 divided by 1 divided by 4 raised to the power of 3 in order to make the negative exponent to positive. And then 1 divided by 16, and then we do the multiplications by 1 divided by 16 times on bracket 4 raised to the power of 3 divided by 1, and then we got 1 divided by 16 times 64, and 64 divided by 16 equals 4. Alright guys, we've covered the topic of indices today, including definitions, properties, basic formulas, and example problem that we have resolved before. I hope this video could help both myself and all of you understanding indices better. Keep practicing, because practice makes perfect. I apologize for any mistakes and shortcomings, and see you in the next video. My name is Renjiro Arikohwans, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.